It's Aaron, metal theologian here. I'm going to start with a little power pop right now, though, sort of a pop punk thing. Alright, this is the Mice. I'm going to talk about them in a second, but first we're going to do some Soda. I don't know if this one's really that obscure, but I haven't seen it featured on Grown Man Record Night, and I certainly haven't done it myself. I'm just noticing the top of this is kind of filthy, so...
We've been waiting for a special time.
Yeah, alright, Dr. Brown's sodas are kind of around. They make a really good cream soda and a root beer, but this one is probably the least easy to find, also the most kind of hip. It's the celery soda. And yeah, it's called Celery, but it's actually a celery soda, so... I've actually had this a lot of times in the past, and I know I like it, but I'm going to bust it open and drink it for you. Just so you know that when I say I really like celery soda, I'm not bullshitting. It's really good. It's actually a very light sort of celery flavor, and I don't like celery that much, by the way, just raw celery. I cook with it, but you know, it's kind of sweet. You know what it's sort of like, really? I'm just looking to see. Yeah, it has high fructose corn syrup in it, unfortunately. You know what this is kind of like? It's sort of like what those vitamin waters and those things sort of strive for when they flavor them. Like they want to put a little something in there, but still have basically be like that. It's sort of like a seltzer. That's very sweet for a seltzer, okay? But not as cloying as like a tonic water. And it's just really refreshing. It has just a little bit of that green in there. It's sort of like a cucumber soda or something like that. It's really nice. So yeah, 2 thumbs up, and I'm past the dispenser right now. You can kind of taste like grit in there. I'm warning you. Kind of sucks. I should have cleaned it before the video. Alright, so anyway, I kind of got inspired by Ben, Ryan Rocks 84, to show off some 45s because he just had a big haul and showed some good shit. I told him a long time ago that I was going to show him my Bob Seger singles. So this is going to do that, but I'm going to save those for the end, and I pulled out a few other things too.
That's a really sweet seltzer.
Yeah, it's definitely a soda, you know? It's not like, it's not like a seltzer, but it's like when they flavor that water, right? It tastes all like sweet, I think. So this is sort of like, it gets the same effect. It doesn't taste like seltzer, just want to be clear. Like, you mix this with your fucking, scotch, and you'll be upset. Of course, if it's a halfway decent scotch, you got no business putting seltzer in it either, but I'll let that go. So anyway, this is the Mice. This single's kind of become sought after. The Mice were a local Cleveland sort of post-punk band from like the 80s. They were really young at the time. And they kind of got a little bit of a following. Apparently there's a band out there called the Mices who changed their name from the Mice because they heard there was a band called the Mice. And they made an EP and a full-length LP. But they made this 45, which I actually got when I was working in the record store when I was still in Cleveland. And one day the guy, one of my colleagues, who was actually managing the store at that time, showed up and had a handful of these and passed them out and was like, here, take this home and listen to it. At that point, this single was only like 6 years old, I think. Now it's 30 years old. So, anyway, it's a cool record. I'm going to kill this. And I go to a couple things till we get to something else to needle drop. But I want to show off the label. It's pretty obviously a private press. Mouse Tunes. Cleveland, Ohio, I'm just looking. Yeah, B. Fox, that's Bill Fox. He's actually done some solo stuff too. You might have seen Bill Fox. His little brother Tommy was the drummer. And I actually knew both of them when I was still in Cleveland. I heard the single and then I met them and I was like, oh my god, it's like meeting a living legend. But they're two of the nicest people you could ever meet. I'm not really in touch with either of them, but Tommy's still kind of my go-to guy when I have questions about reggae. Okay, so anyway, another one to show off here is, this is a reissue, but this is a 45 of Looking at You and Borderline by the MC5. It's kind of awesome with John Coltrane on the cover there. And this is a 30th anniversary edition, which means that this record, having come out in '98, is already, shit.
20 years old.
Not quite. But
No, yeah, if it came out in 98. Oh.
Yeah, it's 2015. No. It hasn't quite been 20 years. It's getting there.
Oh.
Okay, and speaking of reggae, since we were talking about Tommy Fox, I have a couple 45s here. This one I actually just got like last year, but it's kind of cool. It's a Black Art single. It's a Lee Perry. These are 2 Lee Perry singles in the show. This is the Bathroom Skank backed with the Washroom Skank. But you can see that the label is actually generic, and they just sort of stamped that on, the catalog number and the thing. So, that's kind of distinctive. This one is actually on the legendary Studio One label, so I'm going to go ahead and needle drop this, because I haven't seen a copy of this around in years. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's worth anything, although it might be, but this is a Studio One press of Pussy Galore by Lee Perry, backed with Don't Ever Leave Me by the Wailers. So, no idea when this was cut, but it's obviously old. I bought this at a record store new, probably back in the 90s, so I can guarantee you this isn't like an original Studio One from the 60s or anything like that, but sounds better than a lot of the more recent Studio One pressings. Every man love galore. There we go. A couple picture sleeves real quick. Probably nothing to impress Ben, but there's a Deep Purple Might Just Take Your Life single, which is pretty cool. It's on the German Purple label. Or it's a German press on the Purple label. Heisse Musik von EMI. Susie Quattro and Cockney Rebel in addition to Deep Purple. I actually found that here, as well as a not such great shape, but a Never Before single, which is backed with When a Blind Man Cries. I think this is a German one as well. Yeah, look at that. Those like simplified pictures of the records. I showed this one in one of my very earliest videos, but I'll show it again because it's so awesome. This is the Green Man Alicia by Fleetwood Mac. And actually, yeah, what the hell, I'll needle drop this one real quick. You get the idea about Lee Perry. Let's see if I get a ding for this one. I've actually come to appreciate, it's funny because I showed this a long time ago, I've come to appreciate early Fleetwood Mac a lot more than I ever have in the past, but this is still my favorite song, and if you want to say that's because the Priest cover getting me into it, I don't know, man. I'm not going to sit here and try and deny that, but this fucking badass song, so here we go. It's all spooky and psychedelic. Okay, the next one. Again, there are a few in here that are just, you know, no picture sleeves. Just kind of cool things I found. This is actually a Budgie single. This is Whiskey River on Cap. Back with Stranded. So that's off the Squawk album. It's a pretty old one. Pretty stoked to find this one. This is the original Tower single of Dirty Water by the Standells. I don't have much of the 60s punk shit anymore, but I kept this one over the years. This is a weird one, actually. This is like a 60s Japanese beat thing, which I mostly got for the sleeve. I mean, I like some of this stuff. There's nothing wrong with the Tigers, but I'd be lying if I said they were a huge fan. If someone offered me $500 for this thing, I'd let it go like that. But in the meantime, it's a damn cool thing. I especially like the guys and these little rose petals and shit. Yeah. It's all in Japanese. This is another one I just found kind of randomly. This is kind of another one for Ben. But it's a picture sleeve Jumpin' Jack Flash. It's the only Stones single I own. And what's particularly notable about this is that it has this thing for a jukebox. If you see that. So if you're putting this in a jukebox in your bar, you can stick that thing in so you know that whatever the selection is Jumpin' Jack Flash or Child of the Moon. So it's a London press. Another one I just happened to find in the wild, an Aphrodite's Child 7-inch. It's the Greek band with Vangelis, or whatever. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. But I Want to Live, a Magic Mirror, because apparently it's a French press. Daniel wrote his name on it. Dick. No, I'm kidding. Daniel's cool because he let it go so I could find it. It's actually not the greatest thing ever. I'm not a big Aphrodite's Child fan, but it's a cool little picture sleeve. Alright, I got a couple here now for the metal guys, because I've got to do a little bit of metal, right? I'm not going to needle drop this one, you're going to hate me for that. But this right there, that's an original Living in a Ram's Head by Pentagram on the High Voltage label from, I think it's 73. I think it's later than that though. Yeah, 79. The songs that are like, B-side is When the Screams Come. So this is a no shit 70s Pentagram single. And this one I'll let you look up yourselves. This is a new wave of British heavy metal one that I haven't shown off. This is an original Dragon Slayer single. And when they found out about Slayer from Orange County, they'd already made up these Slayer labels. And they made these up, but for some reason on this one it ended up on the outer sleeve, on the white sleeve instead of on the label. So I'm not bitching, but that's it. That's an original I Want Your Life and Satan is Free single. Back with Broken Hearts on Cavalier Records. I'll bet some of you have the double LP that Shadow Kingdom put out a few years ago. It's a great record. I own it too and I recommend it. I'm kind of proud of that anyway. Alright, with that, just for Ben here, we've arrived at the Bob Seger singles. So I'm actually going to go ahead. This is my favorite one right on the top. This is Bob Seger and the Last Herd. This is the Persecution Smith single. And I'm going to go ahead and fire this up. This is actually one of his harder rockers from the 60s of these Cameo Parkway singles. And it's one of his harder rockers, but it's also him channeling Bob Dylan probably more than he ever did since then. So how about that backlight? That's surreal.
Must be magical.
Yeah. Alright, so let me fire this up. These aren't in the greatest shape, but I'm pretty happy to have them at all. So here we go. This is Bob Seger and Persecution Smith. I feel like a fucking DJ from Detroit in 1968 or whatever. Cameo Parkway label, or the sleeve. This is also a Cameo Parkway. It's East Side Story, back with East Side Sound. I think one of these songs was on one of his live albums in the 70s, but I'm not sure. So old though, it's vocal for East Side Story, and then for East Side Sound it says instrumental, so you know, This is probably the most obscure one. This is Vagrant Winter. Backed with Very Few, which is really kind of a cheesy ballad. The B-side of this one, Chain Smokin', is awesome, but this one is, you know, not his strongest effort. But it's a cool record anyway. I really love this 60s Bob Seger shit. And then finally, Heavy Music, Part 1. Backed with Heavy Music, Part 2. Maybe this was the one that he did on one of the live albums. Cameo Parkway again, Heavy Music single. So the last one I have, and as far as I know, this was never on an album, maybe a live one, but this is a Looking Back single, and this is on Capitol, obviously. Highway Child's the B-side. How are we doing for time?
We're at just over 15 minutes.
Alright, I'm just going to flip this real quick so you can hear Chain Smoking for a second. I'm really tempted to put on Very Few, but this is a better song. And looking back, it's probably an even better song, but you probably know that one, so. Bob Seger fan that you are. Ben. So there you go. Just a few kind of random 45s pulled out of the archive, and featuring Bob Seger. Thanks for watching. And that's it. I gotta finish my coffee now. See, I cheated. All right. Until next time.